Good snicker.
Scottsboro City Council order invitation given by myself and pledge given by Mr. Gary Stewart. Pray with me. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for the opportunity to get together this evening. We pause to lift up your name and give you thanks and praise. Father, we ask that you remember those in Houston this evening and in Texas that are experiencing the flooding. Father, we invite you among us here this evening, Father, and I ask that this council seek your will in all their decisions made here for this city. We ask your blessings over this city, over its citizens, its workers, and its leadership. It's in your precious name we pray. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
In your package, you have a copy of the agenda. There is one change. Item 6 will be added to the agenda, which is the public hearing concerning Porter Road. I'll hear a motion to approve the agenda.
I'll make that motion.
Mr. Patrick Stewart makes the motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion? All in favor indicate so by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? You have a copy of previous minutes in your packet. I'll hear approval or a motion to approve previous minutes.
I'll make that motion.
Mr. Patrick Stewart makes the motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Mr. Smith seconds. Any discussion? All in favor indicate so by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Being no old business, we'll move to new business. First on the agenda is consider approval of seasonal temporary employee for the Public Works Department. This would be a budget amendment in the amount of $14,427. I'll hear a motion for the budget amendment. Mr. Smith makes a motion. Is there a second?
A second.
Mr. Gary Stewart seconds. Any discussion? All those in favor indicate so by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Next is consider resolution 2007-08-09 medical physical exam bids for fire department. I believe the motion, Chief, is going to be to reject these bids. Is that correct?
That was a recommendation at work session.
I will hear a motion to reject the one bid and reevaluate.
I'll make a motion.
Ms. Butler makes the motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Patrick Stewart seconds. Any discussion? Being none, all those in favor indicate so by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Next is consider resolution 2007-08-30 Goose Pond funding authorization. You have a copy of that resolution in your packet. I did point out that there is not a not to exceed amount. I had asked Mr. Lyle if it would be agreeable if we put a not to exceed of $450,000 into that resolution. I'll hear a motion to approve that resolution with that change in mind.
I'll make it.
Mr. Smith makes the motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Gary Stewart seconds. Any discussion? This will be for dock expansion, is that correct, Mr. Wilson?
What was the change again?
The document as it's written does not have a dollar amount in place. It would restrict the dollar amount, authorizing them to seek funding for up to $450,000 for the expansion of the docks at this point.
Okay, thank you.
Any other discussion? Being none, we'll take a roll call.
Ms. Butler?
Yes.
Mr. Patrick Stewart?
Yes.
Mr. Gary Stewart?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Wallangsford?
Yes. Next is consider concept of easement in vicinity of Highway 79 is in conflict with any existing or future planning considerations of the city of Scottsboro. I believe this motion should be in the vicinity of Highway 79 or Highway 35. Josh, we looked at both accesses that were proposed, and our position as a city is neither access point would have any impact on us. Is that correct? So I would ask that the wording on that to be changed to Highway 79 or Highway 35. I'll hear a motion to approve.
Make a motion.
Mr. Gary Stewart makes the motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Ms. Butler seconds. Any discussion? Being none, all those in favor indicate so by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? I would ask Mr. Kinnemer if he would draft a document for both parties to that effect. Next is consider proposal for three-way stop in Bob Jones Road and Shorty Robertson Lane vicinity. Mr. Mayor, you want to give them just an overview on that?
Well, let
me stop you, I'm sorry. Yeah, this is I'll hear a motion to approve in order to open up discussion.
I'll make my motion.
Ms. Butler makes a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Patrick Stewart seconds. Now, Mayor, would you give them an overview again?
Yes, Chief Dahl and I had a meeting with the homeowner president from Rivermont Condominiums, and they were having trouble with speeding motorists from the Goose Pond apartment complex. They had tried placing some flyers on windshields of the residents there, encouraging them to drive slower. They had requested speed bumps, and we discussed with him that really wasn't an option because of rescue vehicles, police, etc. It was also noted that this area needed some additional street lighting, so the Electric Power Board looked at it and they agreed, and so they are adding, if they haven't added, 3 additional street lights. Not that that's going to slow anybody down. But in looking at it, Chief Dahl came back with a recommendation to create a 3-way stop, which is going to affect everyone, not just Goose Pond residents, but the Rivermont condominium residents as well. Creating a 3-way stop of where Shorty Robertson Lane, coming up from the office there at Goose Pond on the Bob Jones, which would slow everybody down. And that was his recommendation.
Any other discussion? If not, all of those in favor indicate so by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? So passed. Now is the time and place for a public hearing in the consideration of lifting heavy truck restrictions on Porter Road in Scottsboro, Alabama. Mr. Mayor, I'll ask you to give an overview.
Okay, back in the winter, we had a joint meeting about the construction of Veterans Field, the rebuild of that baseball complex, and Water, Sewer, Gas was present at that meeting. They stated at that time that they were in need of doing a water line replacement on Cecil Street, just due to the truck traffic and the age and deterioration of the water main there. It was also discussed with Eddie Blizzard that the city needed to replace 2 culverts, one there on Cecil Street and the other culvert being over on Legion Drive. So we all agreed that we would revisit this because a lot of it impacted how far along the veterans rebuild was going. So we revisited that in May, and we knew we had to make a decision because it impacted school traffic tremendously. So we made the decision to move forward. The city had to order the concrete culverts. We don't stock those large culverts. But anyway, the project was slated to begin in July. Water, Sewer, Gas said 2 to 3 weeks for their part. The street department anticipated a total of about 4 to 6 days for their part with both culverts. The Water, Sewer, Gas did their part. We had a lot of rain. The concrete culverts didn't arrive as scheduled. They actually showed up when they were paving Cecil Street, so that impacted the delay of that part. And then school started, besides having an extremely wet July. So the Veterans Field rebuild is going quite well, but as far as open projects that impact how trucks flow in and out of Scottsboro, we still have those 2 culverts, and Eddie and I have discussed that this morning, and we've got to try to, number one, we need some dry weather, but we need to try to work around the school calendar. The next school holiday is October 9th and 10th. That's a Monday, Tuesday. That is a target date for the Cecil Street culverts, even if they have to start work on Sunday. And then, still pending, we've got the Willow Branch Drainage Basin project that's going to flow behind the Armory. It goes between Maples, the Jackson County Jail. It cuts across some private property. It ends up, we have a culvert replacement at Cloverdale Road. So the city is doing that part, so we have another culvert there. We have to, another big project coming up that we partnered with Low Zero on. We're removing the drainage tile that cuts diagonally on Taylor Street and Heroes Drive. We'll even have to close Taylor Street for a portion of this time while we remove those large tiles. That'll become an open ditch. We are going to be reworking the entire ditch that runs Hero Drive down by Low Zero property. It'll be, the ditch will be recut and riprap. Low Zero's going to be removing their fence and setting it back. So there's going to be some construction going down through there. And then also we've got Harley Street and Cloverdale Road that we'll be paving when the drainage project is over. And then another impact on all this is our weight restriction on Parks Avenue Bridge. There's a 5-ton weight restriction right now, and you know, it's just the intent not to come up with a designated truck route, but to try to disperse some of this traffic and take some of the stress off. Plus, we've still got several projects that are pending. So that's where we are.
I'll open it to council discussion at this time.
I didn't know that we, when they started to work on this, it had been discussed that we would not put traffic down the road. I also know that they've been using Cecil Street for years, but I also know it's that turn there is a very dangerous turn. Or it's tough on truck drivers, and it's also tough on the anybody driving vehicles down the road. But we did, I do remember that it was told to people that lived in Woods Cove and down the Porter Road area that there would not be truck traffic to that area. I know there's got to be another way to work this out, but I do know also that you have people in town that have a lot of people that a lot of the trucks now, their GPS send them down several streets through town to trying to get to those areas of Maples, and that's caused a major problem. But as we are right now, we have a sign at Cecil Street that says that it's been rerouted to Porter Road. I think when you get there, it's a little too late to get turned around and get back. But I don't see why there couldn't be a better way that we could approach this and possibly divert the traffic down Cecil Street using the proper signage, and also through town about no semis being able to go along the side roads for any turn. I know there's some tractor trailers that have to go through town to deliver. I realize that, but they don't have to deliver in residential areas. So that's really all I have to say about it, but that's my thoughts.
Thank you, Mr. Stewart. Mr. Smith, you have anything?
My main concern, and I too remember when they said, when this was completed, that we wouldn't be sending trucks down that road again. The biggest concern I have, no matter where we send trucks, there's going to be some issue with people who live there, or who got business there, or whatever. But I was told that, and I asked the question, will a large truck tie that road up after all the money we spent and all the time that it was down, and people had to deal with that when they lived in there. But so I was told that we had a letter from, I think, AlDOT, which states that it is in good shape for trucks to travel on. But it's my understanding when they wrote that letter, maybe, sometime shortly thereafter, the road started cracking and breaking, and so they went in there and they had to dig up a whole bunch of it because they had mud under it. And I guess my concern was, how did we get the letter to start with saying it was all in good shape when it really wasn't? And when they fixed that, how do we know that the rest of it is still in good shape? I just hate to see us tear that road up if it's not in good shape. If they can guarantee it, and I don't think they'll do that, but if they could, that truck traffic wouldn't hurt it, I don't know that I'd have a problem with that. Because if they're speeding and all these kind of things, we have a police department that can handle that. It's just a tough issue for either side. Whichever way we go, somebody's not going to be happy. And at some point, we're going to have to go one way or the other. I just like to know for sure that that road was built to specifications and the truck won't carry it.
Thank you, Mr. Smith. Ms. Butler, do you have anything?
I was not part of the original promise, but I wanted to hear both sides and see, hopefully there's a better option, or see what we can work out. But I don't, if we could spread it out, I don't really like that, just going strictly through the two schools, or the school zones and the rec zone, and, I want to look at all of our options. We could spread it out. That's it. I'm here, everybody. Appreciate everybody coming out and
Mr. Patrick Stewart?
I drive it every day. I drive Ford Road every day that I work, Monday through Friday. And I guess my first concern when we brought it up the other day was I asked if it was going to be temporary or not, because they were working on Cecil. But my whole thing is the safety aspect of it. And it's a double line road all the way from Porter all the way to Woods Cove. And if an ambulance turns out right on that going to Highway 72, there's nowhere that an 18-wheeler can pull over to let that ambulance pass safely. Another thing too is I counted the mailboxes. There's 41 mailboxes on the road as opposed to 12 on Cecil. And there's people across at the projects that are on little scooters. They walk a lot. I just, from a safety standpoint, pulling out of Woods Cove, if you turn right or if you turn left, it's still a safety issue, even with cutting the trees back some. But just from a safety standpoint, and the trucks that are driving, I witnessed one today that was exceeding the speed limit of 35 miles an hour. But I know that we have to look at different options, and maybe we can plan further down the road. Opening up a truck route on Porter, I think we're just waiting for an accident to happen. And I'm not going to support that.
I, like Ms. Butler, was not part of the original process that went into applying for the grant. I will admit that I was surprised when it was stated that it would never be opened to truck traffic. However, I've got some of the same concerns that Mr. Smith does. I think that the road, Mr. Blizzard, are you here somewhere? Mr. Blizzard, that we had a tremendous amount of rain when that road was built. Am I remembering that correctly?
You are remembering that correctly.
And the road's been open for how long?
It opened late part of spring last year, 16.
That's in the life of a road. That's pretty young, correct?
Yes.
And as Mr. Smith stated, there's maybe some structural concerns opening it up to that late this early in the process.
Last year during the drought, we had some lateral cracking along the bridge on the south end of the road, and they were resealed, and there were also some borings taken there by Alabama. And it's one of those old timers I worked around back years ago said that's just the mountain taking back its own. What happens, it was so dry that dirt shrinks when it gets dry. And there's no doubt it'll shrink real deep because of the drought. Haven't noticed anything since it resealed them. Of course, we haven't had a drought like that again, but they seem to be holding up now.
I also think, Mr. Blizzard, I also think that there would need to be some work done as far as feeder roads that come into that road. So that would be my input on it. I would not be inclined at this time to open it up as a permanent option. We'll move to public input. First we have Mr. Buck Irving. Bucky, did you have something to offer?
You know what, I think y'all said it pretty good yourself. Thank y'all.
Thank you, Bucky. Mr. Larry Bailey from Maples Industries.
I just wanted to say that you guys did a great job building that road, and it looks like it was built for truck traffic, which we believe makes it safer for the drivers and others concerned. And we would just like you to consider allowing it to be used for that.
Thank you, Mr. Bailey. David Smith.
I actually don't live directly on Porter, but I live one house from it. And since they've turned this traffic loose down there, it rattles windows in my house, and God knows what it does to the people that live on Porter Road. One of my neighbors that does live on Porter Road said it rattles in his house. I can take you and show you a place down there where 78 feet of the road fell off. It didn't, I mean, there was no truck traffic on it, it just fell off, and it's probably what Mr. Blizzard was talking about, resealing. But I've sat and watched when two trucks pass each other down there. If they have approximately a couple of feet between their mirrors, their front tires are over the white line. And you got approximately, what, 18 to 24 inches, if that, on the outside of that white line. And if a truck goes out there on that and he drops off the side of that road, you drive down through there and look, he's going to end up on his side. Because there's no way with the drop off that there is in some of those places out there that you can keep control over one of them. I've already noticed one instance, I saw this myself, to where a truck had stopped at Edwin Street where I live, and he was sitting there with a car in front of him, waiting on another car towards the hospital. But the ambulance, that is their main route to carry critical care patients to Huntsville. And they don't need to be held up or have to worry about hitting another truck, because there ain't a straight place in that road until you pass Bob Shook's old house, and then you can see the railroad track, and that's it. And the ambulance tried to come out around this vehicle, and you pretty much just basically like having a head-on truck with a critically ill patient in there. I'd hate to know that was some of my family. And
I'm sorry.
oh, go ahead. I just, you know, to me, that road, it never was made to, it never did have a proper base built on it, because it was the old road that went all the way around through Saltpeter Cave and come up through Limrock and joined what is now Highway 35. And it was just a tar and gravel road. And, you know, I know for a fact that some of the samples that were pulled out there and dug down, some of the stuff that come out of it were just like pottery clay, really. You know what I'm talking about? You know, it's just, you can use it and move your hands. I can already tell when you turn off 72 out there, if you drive slow, there was no dips or anything in that road. There's already dips and stuff in that road now out there that you can feel, and it's simply because of the traffic. Now the noise, I don't think it's fair. I don't think anybody sitting up here on this board would want transfer trucks running up and down a residential area, and that's what it is. Any way you want
I think
to
your
do it.
point is taken.
Yeah, and by the way, as far as the safety of those things in front of on the ambulance, there's already been a wreck. I found out with a truck and an ambulance. And I just wish you'd think very seriously about what you're fixing to do, because you're here to take care of the citizens of Scottsboro. And I realize we have to take care of our businesses also, but, you know, they've been going that other route for 50 years, because that's how long I've lived here.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much.
So I just wish you'd think about it.
Mr. John Layton.
Hello. I guess one thing I'd say is a lot more opposition to this idea than I had any earthly idea. So that has made me think a little bit. I tend to think the Woods Cove route is safer than going through town, going through Cecil and the schools. But we've been going the other way a long time, so if we have to keep going through Cecil, it's not going to be the end of the world to me. I'm going to do a little more research on it. So I'm feel a little bit different than I felt when I walked in, so that's what I got to say about it.
Thank you, John. I appreciate your understanding.
Mr. Wallace?
Sure.
Can I ask a question?
Yes, sir. Sure.
Yes, John, sorry. Is there a way that your dispatchers could work with the trucks to come in if we did go back to Cecil?
Yeah, the problem is the people coming to pick up. Leaving, I guess we could direct them the correct way, but picking up, they just show up.
Right.
And maybe, possible, direct them to do what?
Do what, I'm sorry?
I think one of the issues...
We can speak afterwards about it. Your request is to do what?
John, I think one of the issues is some drivers' GPS systems.
Yeah, I see.
They pass Cecil and they get in downtown, and we're getting trucks in the downtown area, and they are sure bound up when they get into downtown area there. If there's some way to educate those drivers.
They just show up because all the freight is arranged by our customers.
Yes.
So there's good, but something we can work on. You know, as far as the construction of the road, I'm not a civil engineer, so I have no idea. It looks great, but I don't know.
Thank you.
That's it.
Lamar Clark.
Well, I was part of the, I did the site work at the new Veterans Baseball Field. So I was part of this thing to start with. And I was in those meetings that Robin was in there with me. And when we started having pulling dirt from the pit off Edmonds Drive, coming all the way around, instead of coming down Cecil Street, I mean, it makes a difference from a budget standpoint. Just like Robin was saying, this Willow Creek, you're gonna pull rock from Vulcan, instead of going through Porter Road, you gotta go all the way around through town. You can't go down Parks, you got that 5-ton weight limit bridge. So what does that take you? It's gonna take you all the way to Willow, then down to Cecil's, down to Cedar Hill Drive. I don't think what Robin is asking for is a permanent access. I think he's asking for, if the trucks want to come through there, that's fine, and if they don't, that's fine. As far as Mr. Smith's point is, well, he's asking, I think Outlaw designed the road. I think that there's an engineer sitting behind a desk somewhere, and those specifications had to be met, and the city ensured they were met, because you guys were paying, the taxpayers were paying an engineer out there to make sure that it was built for heavy traffic. For me, I don't see a problem. My business is on that end of town. It make it a lot easier delivering gravels from Vulcan. I can't see, if you see what truck traffic has done, go look at Cecil Street. Why was all those valves having to be replaced? It'd make it easier on me. I'm like John, I can keep going either way, it don't matter. But I don't see why it would hurt to let trucks use that road. It's just my point.
Thank you. Mr. Jay Hutchins.
I live out on Port Road either. I live out on Garden Drive, but we've already had damage to our home from these trucks coming through there. So there's got to be something better than letting them come through a residential area. I've got 3 children that come out there and play. These trucks are coming through, pulling down the charter cable wires, jerking the box off of my house. So I mean, what's going to happen if one of my kids is out in the yard? Something happens to my kid. You know, we're blocking traffic over what? I mean, is there not something we can do? Put up a sign restricting the 18-wheelers from coming back into residential areas? I mean, if it's just a temporary access, why don't we go ahead and lift the temporary access until the work can be done? At least, you know, lift the temporary access off Cecil. Go back like it was previously. Once the work is actually started, then put the temporary restrictions back into it. Get the road fixed, lift the access again. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Lucas.
Worthy. I said, I knew what you were looking for. That's okay.
Well, you have a very nice handwriting, it's just not very legible.
Well, I live on Juwan Mountain, and my concern is, you know, when you come down Juwan Mountain, there's the stop sign, and then you have Porter coming around with a deep curve, which is a real hazard, even has always been. And I know the trees were cut on that curve, which made a difference, but it isn't enough. And the other day, I passed a logging truck, and then I think about a 18-wheeler maybe behind me if I'm turning to go back up on Woods Cove. There is no way, if these truckers are going even 35 miles an hour, they couldn't stop if they had to, not with the weight they're carrying. And I think that's a real hazard. And I appreciate what Mr. Patrick said. He said about the hospital. There isn't room. It should be a 3-lane road. That's what we need for passing with an ambulance and other vehicles on the road. But there is absolutely no place on the side at all for a car to pull over, for the ambulance to pass, and a trucker certainly has no place to go.
Yes, ma'am.
And I think what is going to happen there at the curve that goes around toward the hospital on Woods Cove, I think we could see a major accident right there where a truck could not stop for the person turning because they would rear end that particular person.
I think that if at some juncture in the future the council were to consider that that would be an area that would require a major major amount of work. So I really don't, thank you, Mr. Woodman. I get the feeling that the consensus of the council is not to move forward with lifting the permanent restriction. Mr. Mayor, are trucks traveling that route at this time?
Yes. It are at 4:30.
And that's due to the construction on Cecil Street, is that true? And do we have an approximate completion date on this project?
Well, as I said earlier, the culverts, the school holiday is October 9th and 10th. That's a Monday, Tuesday. I mean, we could do it probably second week in September, but we're going to have to close Cecil Street, and then we've got issues with school traffic and school buses and that sort of thing. So we're trying to work with the school system and have the least impact on that. So that's October 9th and 10th, the Monday, Tuesday. And like I said earlier, you know, it may be they have to start on Saturday and work Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, you know, to get that replaced. But that's in October. And you know, and I understand both sides. There's a lot of strong emotions, and I do understand that, and I respect it. I really do. And Josh and I talked about putting the sign up, taking the sign down, putting the sign up, taking the sign down, and then we get people like Lindsay that's talked to us that, you know, the trucks end up on King Street or Garden Drive or Cherry Street because of the confusion. And we've talked about where the sign is that says use Porter Road and this sort of thing. And then, you know, we've got the issue with Parks Avenue Bridge, and, you know, we pray every week that it, you know, there's just issues there, and I'll leave it at that. So there's not an easy solution here. But you know, we're committed to the drainage work at Lozier and removing that tile because flooding's an issue in parts of town, and we're committed to replacing this culvert. So, you know, we can do the start and stop. It's just, I think it's, you know, we'll have to get with the police department, and it's going to impact a lot of people, and then there's still going to be that stray trucker that does what he wants to do. Quite frankly.
Any other council discussion, Mr. Patrick?
Councilman Jay.
I didn't know you had to sign in. Could I speak a minute on that?
I'll allow.
That's my concern too. It was told that this would happen after
After
the
the meeting.
meeting. And no one recommended signing up.
I've lived on Porter Road for about 45 years. And everybody keeps talking about the road bill specification for trucks. I've got a copy of the specifications that it's supposed to have been built by, but it wasn't built by. There's been numerous things changed in it. All the pavement was supposed to have been took up, all of it. They took up what they wanted to take up, and they kept taking core samples till they got one suit. These places has fell in down there for 45 years, and they ain't fixed it. They just built the road up a little bit higher, put a little bit more asphalt on it, but you've got to get down under it to fix it. And there's one way to do it. My wife counted the trucks today. She didn't set out on the porch, so she didn't get them all. 50 trucks, 50 trailer trucks today went up and down that road.
And
that's a slow day.
That's a slow day, I guess. And it is, my concern is the road is not going to hold up more than it is going through a residential area. Yes, it won't hold up because it ain't been fixed. And I live where a 70 or 80 foot in front of my house, the road cracks, you can put your fingers in the cracks. And that ain't even where the trucks drive, the traffic's at. That's over on the shoulder. And they claim it's dry weather done it. Well, we can't do nothing about the weather.
Yes, thank you. What was your name, sir?
It's precise.
Yes.
was gonna ask Jay a question. Were trucks coming through Garden Drive before the
No.
season?
They were not. And I've been back from Iraq 3 weeks, and in the past 3 weeks, I have escorted probably a dozen trucks over to Maples. And it's, this wasn't happening before I left a year ago. Now all of a sudden I come home and I'm having trucks come down a residential area. So you can't even make a turn hardly to get out of there. It's tough in a long wheelbase crew cab pickup. I mean, I can't imagine what it'd be like with a 52-foot trailer and a 30-foot truck pulling.
I've got it one out too.
I think that's probably the same issue that's happening in Lisa's neighborhood over there. I would think that their GPS is guiding them through there for some unknown reason.
We did, in investigating the GPS and all that, we were under the assumption that the 911 center, like when Heroes got changed, but 911 didn't turn that in, so Chief Dahl turned that in to some of the mapping companies, but there is some issues with GPS and signage as well.
That was the issue with every driver that I spoke with. They all said the GPS was bringing them down these residential streets saying that this takes you to Maples.
Yeah.
Well, it does. From my backyard, I can hit the backside of Maples with a golf ball throwing it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it does take you to Maples.
I agree.
It just does not take you to an access road for it.
Lindsay, was yours before Cecil was closed? Yours has been happening for a while, hasn't it?
I've fought this project for 5 years at a minimum. And I spoke with Melton and his constituents, which would be 4 people up here I know, over the years. The last 2 years is when it has become very chaotic. I submitted invoices, what it has paid to fix my yard at the corner of South and West Charlotte. With time, in the last 2 years, Josh Littles and Milton Potter asked me to calm down, asked my mother to calm me down, because Porter Road was going to be the truck route. Melton stated at the city estate address, at the water, sewer, and gas building, at the beginning, that's what it was going to be. It was in the Daily Sentinel. It would be the truck route. Now I have a question. If we're going to spend $4.4 million to do 3.047 miles to ALDOT specs, Class 8 trucks, why are we not using them? Again, 4 people up here was with Melton when these things were done. And then the backtracking happened. I understand Porter Road's comments about the hospital and their safety and the road tearing up. I'm not against those residents. But I'm truly in a residential subdivision along with the King Street, Cherry Street, Garden Drive. I've fought it the longest. I've told repeatedly GPS was the problem at the beginning. And as we bring in all the work on our roads, it's forced more and more downhill. Signage is the ultimate answer to get them to go wherever we're going to put them. And I do believe that you all need to speak with the DOT director who lives right here in our county and get him on board to help you with signage on the state highways. Because it takes it way out and in more directions than just Huntsville or Stevenson. You've got to get it on Willow Street, and these trucks run 24/7. You can set a clock tonight at 11 o'clock when we drive through my yard without attempt. I began parking an extra vehicle, blocking a 4-way to solve my problem, which is forcing it to Cedar Hill Drive, which I'm assuming is driving through Brent Miller's yard now to make the turn. It's not right of me, but at some point I got to take care of myself because I have no backup from the city or the state. So, any help to help everyone is the ultimate answer.
Any other discussion from the council? This concludes our public hearing. We'll move to reports. Mr. Mayor?
I don't have anything else.
Ms. Butler?
Thank you all again for being here. Art in the Park this Sunday. That's it.
Mr. Patrick Stewart?
Just thank you for everybody coming out tonight, voicing your opinions and concerns. Let everybody remember everyone in Texas with thoughts and prayers. That's all I have.
Mr. Gary Stewart?
No, I also want to thank everybody for being here. All the ones that I spoke to, I asked them to come tonight because I thought it was very important that every voice could be heard. And I do appreciate you coming tonight. And I hope we can make a decision that we can all live with, work with.
Mr. Smith?
I think we have to take care of our citizens as they have asked. I also know that if we don't allow trucks to come and go in Scottsboro, we don't have to get another job to pay for our food and our clothes and everything, because without truck drivers, we are in trouble. So it's a very difficult decision for us to make, and hopefully we'll make the right decision, whatever that may be. But we need to try to make it as fair for both sides as we possibly can. That's all.
Thank you, Mr. Smith. I also want to thank everybody for coming out tonight. I have to say that my favorite part of this evening was hearing a full gallery say the Pledge of Allegiance tonight, and I appreciate everybody's presence, their interest. Know that we have everybody's best interest at heart. I'd like to announce that we will not have a meeting next week. It will be Labor Day on September 11th. We will have a work session and a council meeting that evening. I would love it if we had as many people here every week. With that, I'll hear a motion to close.
Make that motion.
Mr. Patrick Stewart makes a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Gary Stewart seconds. Any discussion? All those in favor indicate so by saying aye.
Aye.
We stand adjourned.